button. Recording is in progress.
Well, hey, everybody. Welcome to Buddies on Buddies, the show with two guys you don't know talking about movies you don't care about. I'm Kenny Lane.
I'm Lucas Hill. And
Yeah.
we're buddies
And
on
we are
buddies.
Buddies on Buddies. Yeah. Oh,
We'll get it.
fuck.
We'll get
messed
it.
that up.
We'll get it.
Sunday. Yeah.
It was better the first time. Beginner's luck.
Yeah. Who'd have thought? All right. Well, hey, this week we are talking about the 1980.
Hold on.
Oh,
Just wait
sorry.
till we did the whole rundown.
Okay.
And you run off like a dog with a bone, and we're going to chase you around the park because that's a chicken bone. You're not allowed to eat those.
Right.
All right. Thank you for the introduction.
Give me a segue, Lucas.
Thanks for the introduction, Kenny.
Stage director Lucas will take it from here.
We are buddies. We like to talk about movies. In this particular podcast, we're doing buddy action movies for the most part. That's the
buddy action comedies.
Buddy action comedies, yes. That's the title. But before we get into that, Kenny, give us a brief history of who you are, why anybody should listen to you talk about movies.
I at age 8, I memorized the Leonard Maltin movie guide, the entire book. I've made 20 Oscar-nominated films myself. I graduated cum laude from Harvard in movie studies. So I know what I'm talking about.
One of those was true. He did memorize.
Guess which one?
Yeah, the Maltin book. But he directed The Piano, which is really good and won an Oscar.
It was. I don't know. Holly Hunter got saved it, I think, but whatever.
My name is Lucas. I'm a script reader for a living. I live in Los Angeles or near it. Been in the industry for a long time. I know a quarter of what Kenny knows about movies, but I have twice the taste.
It's gonna be your same joke every week, isn't it?
I'll change it up. I get bored. Kenny, do you want to introduce the movie we watched this week? It was your
shit. I love to. Yeah, it's the movie is called Real Men, starring James Belushi and John Ritter, written and directed by Dennis Feldman, and it seems to be a one and done for him. He never directed a movie again after this.
He did a lot of writing, but yeah, this was him done with directing. We're gonna really get into Real Men. I forgot my fucking notes. Whatever, I don't need them.
Right.
Because we watched it, and you can watch it on YouTube. I'll put the link in the comment section or in the description when we're done with this. So if you want to watch it before you watch this, it's your choice. I don't know.
You can only add to the experience. Yeah.
It's really kind of added his experience. It's like getting high before a roller coaster, man. Your choice.
Yeah.
Before we get into the movie, though, what did you watch this week? Outside of the movie we were assigned to watch.
Well, I watched a couple things recently. I watched a movie called Hollywood Shuffle from 1987, written and starring and directed by Robert Townsend, who was kind of a up and coming black comic in the 80s. Co-written by Keenan Ivory Wayans. He's also in the movie too. It's kind of about a young black actor's, semi-autobiographical, I assume. His kind of struggle to find good parts in Hollywood back in the 80s that aren't just, reinforcing stereotypes of minorities. It's not a great movie, but I liked it. I've seen it before a long time ago. And when you realize it was shot on a shoestring budget for $100,000 and they were stealing all these shots.
Wow, that's impressive.
Yeah, $100,000, and they were stealing all these, on location shots. So as a, aspiring filmmaker, that was, I like that aspect. I like that sort of, guerrilla filmmaking stuff. And they said
it was a pretty decent. Sorry, it was a pretty decent hit though, too, right? Like it put him on the map.
I think it did okay, but I think it was one of those that got kind of passed around. Like people liked it. It was kind of, especially like Hollywood people liked it. It's like insider stuff. So that guy got his foot in the door, and he went on to make a couple other fairly like critically acclaimed movies, so they weren't that big of hits. He's mostly just doing he's a big like TV guy now. I guess he's been doing like a lot of TV directing and stuff for a lot of years, but never really had that kind of big director star success. But
he was big enough that we were aware of him. Sorry, in the growing up, like I knew who he was, and when his movies came out, I knew about them, whether they were good or bad. That's
right. Yeah. So yeah, I knew who he was as a kid, but I think the Meteor Man, that movie kind of killed his career. I think it was a superhero spoof that was just critics hated it, bombed. But yeah, Hollywood Shuffle, it's not great. A lot of the satire is kind of dated. A lot of the stuff they're referencing is very aged. But the main thing I was like watching a lot of old movies like from the 60s and 70s and 80s and stuff. I always kind of wondered because you see a lot of these very kind of embarrassing, cringe, stereotype roles, minorities, the roles that were written for them to play and stuff. And after the 50s and 60s, they stopped casting white actors in these roles, doing these awful, renditions of these characters, and that was good. But then the roles didn't really change, so it was a lot of like Asian and Black and Hispanic actors playing these same kind of parts. And I always wondered how those actors felt about that, because obviously they knew that this is a role that's reinforcing stereotypes.
I could
so
never
this movie kind of explores that.
I could never speak to that. I'm sure they weren't happy about it, but they were happy to. Anybody who makes money in Hollywood's pretty happy, but I'm sure they're not happy. And as time progressed,
Right,
they got more progressive. They liked it less and less, and they still do it.
Right.
They still do it today. Like it still happens
Sure.
in Hollywood.
Yeah, and it's something I cannot relate to. We'll never be able to relate to. But it's just I always kind of wondered about that. So that movie kind of explores that, and I think they did a pretty good job. It had some laugh out loud moments and stuff. So I think it's worth checking out for like movie buffs and stuff.
There you have it. Hollywood Minutes. Wait, what is it called?
Shuffle.
Hollywood Shuffle.
Hollywood Shuffle. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a David Spade's bit, is Hollywood Minute, which you should also check out. It's really funny, but it's completely different.
Yeah, good clips.
Good clips.
How about you, Lucas? What'd you see?
For something I was researching for a project, I watched the first episode of Yellow Jackets and the first episode of Search Party, which I'd never seen, the pilot episodes of that.
I heard of Yellow Jackets. I see like commercials and stuff. I don't know what Search Party is though.
Yellow Jackets is a lot of fun. It's Showtime's like one of their bigger hits right now. I only watched the pilot, but it like takes place with high schoolers, and then they're in their 40s, and between that they got in a plane crash when they were in high school, and they were on their own for a long time. It's like the mystery of what happened there and everything. Without giving too much away. Great cast, like Juliette Louis-Dreyfus is in it. Not Juliette Louis-Dreyfus, but Juliette Lewis. Sorry. Juliette Lewis, Christina Ricci. Is it Ricci or Ricci?
I think it's Ricci, I think, but yeah.
Ricci, she's in it. So it's like cool because it's a show that has most of its focus on 40-year-old plus actresses, and then the high school. And it's really well cast, like the actors who play the high school versions of them. And so it's just this unraveling mystery. Really cool. Search Party is with Laya Shawkat and a bunch of other comedians. She was the girl from Arrested Development. And that's more of a popular girl gets killed and she takes it upon herself to find out what happened, like a mystery type thing. But it's
like
more,
a Brick kind of thing, or
kind of. It's much more comedic though. It's like it's full of comedic actors. But both I will watch more of. I enjoyed them. So
well, hey, 2 TV show recommendations from Lucas Hill coming at you.
I only saw the first episodes of each, so it really hit a wall.
When they go to shit at episode 3, you're gonna have egg on your face, my friend.
Yeah, we might get our first comment.
Yeah.
So those are what we watched, at least a couple of them. Yeah, let's just move on.
Thank God.
Just jump into this movie. It is called Real Men. Kenny, do you want to go first with some of your thoughts on it?
Sure.
Some
Well,
of your bigger thoughts.
Well, Real Men, it was a movie I remembered as a kid. It was one of those things I would play on HBO in the daytime. And I would watch HBO all the time, as a kid. And I remembered it being kind of weird. And when we started doing this podcast, it was one of the things I kind of wanted to revisit. Just like, I remember this old movie. No one ever brings it up anymore. I never heard anyone say they were a fan of it. It seems to be a kind of a forgotten movie. So I wanted to kind of go back and see just, since I haven't saw it as a kid, like, is it still kind of weird? Is it still funny? Is it just stupid? Being that it has no real fan base, I was kind of at low expectations. But do you want to give like kind of a quick synopsis of like kind of what the story plot's about?
Sure. And before you say it has no real fan base, if you go to Amazon and look at the DVD reviews, it's got a massive fan base. Everybody's
it does.
The most hidden gem. This movie's hilarious. Why did anybody? It's like every single one's like 4 out of 5 stars. And the only low ones are like my disc was scratched. but everybody loves that fucking movie on Amazon. That's the only
Those are
place
my
where you
favorite
find it.
reviews of like I drop my phone, I give this movie an F. You know, like
No, it's about this really good but off the book CIA agent played by James Belushi, who has to
Yeah.
use a doppelganger CIA agent who's this meek insurance guy played by Ritter, and they go on a road trip. And I won't give away the big.
yeah, we shouldn't give it too much because it would
Yeah.
spoil some of the bizarreness. But
So it's basically like this meek, super nice guy has to go along with this really tough, really roguey, womanizing CIA agent, and they go on a little
Well,
adventure together.
well, I imagine we're gonna have to get into spoilers because so if
Oh
you
yeah,
haven't
look,
seen
the
Real
whole thing's
Men,
spoiled. I don't really like. Sorry.
yeah, so yeah,
I'll put
so
the
let's
link
just
to the
say,
movie because it's free on YouTube below, or in the
yeah.
descriptions.
So if you,
Like I already
yeah,
said, but yeah, we're all look. Maybe we should start at the top of everything. We're just going to spoil everything. So nothing
yeah,
we're talking about is
so
modern. So
no, yeah, so either go watch Real Men and come back, or don't and just listen to us spoil a movie you never see.
yeah, and both times you're going to have the time of your life.
Buckle the fuck up. Here we go.
Okay, I'm buckled up, Kenny.
Yeah.
No, let me go first because you knew more about it. I went in knowing next to nothing
Yeah.
about this movie.
Yeah.
So I didn't know what it was for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, the action's insane really early on, like with him shooting people.
Yeah, it's a lot
like,
of action.
Yeah, and I'm
Yeah.
like, but he's like the deadliest shot. I'm like, is this
Oh,
a
yeah.
spoof? I couldn't tell. I didn't even know it was a comedy, for a long. I knew it would be a comedic
Really?
elements. I knew it had comedic
Uh-huh.
elements like Midnight Run and stuff, but I was like, are they serious
Yeah.
about when he ties his shoelace to the knot, and, like swings it? I was like, did they do
Off
that?
the
Yeah.
When he comes all the way around and bashes through the door, and then
Like, was that intentional? I just couldn't tell. I couldn't write because I didn't know. It's not until they get into the real comedic bits later. I'm
Uh-huh.
like, oh,
Yeah.
this is just a fucking comedy, I guess. Like,
No, I think the movie's pretty self-aware through and through. I think it knows what it's
so
doing.
it is.
I don't
spoofy.
think.
But
Yeah,
here's the
of
thing:
course.
they didn't deliver that. Like, because
You don't think it delivered that?
No, and there's so much of it where, especially like I said, I knew nothing. It wasn't until the real comedic bits started happening. I was like, okay, this is a comedy. But if you didn't know that, look, I've
How
seen a
far
lot
did
of.
you get into it before you realized it was a comedy? I'm curious now. Was it like
No,
45 minutes?
I was always on the fence. Well, first of all,
Okay.
James Belushi isn't that funny to me. So
There's a lot of weird sight gags early on, though. Like,
what?
when he like the guys walk through the door and James Belushi is like is like up high in the hallway.
Even that,
just,
I was
holding
like,
himself
were they
there.
doing that on purpose, or is that
Of
a
course.
joke? I couldn't tell. I could not tell. I was like, I
When
don't know if this is a joke. or
After
not.
he bashes through the window, the bad guy kicks in the door and he sees someone humping this chick, and then he's like, "Oh, sorry," and then James Belushi just pops up and shoots him, and then he says, "You've done a great service for your country." You didn't think maybe this might be kind of
No, I did
goofy or
think.
kind
I
of
thought
comedy?
maybe I wasn't like, oh, this is all a complete comedy. Even
Wow.
by the time,
Okay.
it wasn't until he started. It wasn't even by the time, and this is the big turn on the movie. Where you're watching
When he
this.
sticks the pen to the baseball and
Yeah,
it
yeah,
goes
and
to outer
it
space.
flies up to space.
That's when you're like, okay, now this is silly.
Even then, I was like, have they lost their fucking minds? It wasn't until his finger gun bit, where you're
Bang.
like, yeah.
That's the most memorable scene from a kid. That's the main one that made me laugh as a kid. Yeah.
And that's one that I vaguely remembered. I was like, I vaguely remember watching that as a kid.
Yeah.
But that's the only time when I was like, okay, this is a comedy. And it's the movie's fault.
Wow, that's like halfway through the movie.
Yeah, and my life
Isn't that after he meets his transvestite father and all that
No,
kind of
that's
stuff?
by then you know it's a comedy. It was the gun thing.
Yeah.
That happens. That's
Okay.
the first big bit. Because you know why it's difficult? Because he's talking and tricking him the entire time. Like he is tricking.
But there's
John
lots
Ritter.
of but there's lots of lots of weird lines. There's that scene when they're in like John Ritter's garage, and it really made me laugh, where like he turns his back on him. He's like, I've never seen France or something, and John Ritter's like grabs like he's like, and you never will. Like it's from The Nice Guy, like he's doing like a death line before, and then of course it doesn't work, but that made me like really laugh. And then hands him his gun. He starts just pulling the trigger a million times. That was really funny. There's and all his lines. I don't know. It's kind of blows my mind that you didn't realize it was comedy. Like
No. I knew there was comedic elements. It's John Ritter, but it's a full-on big fucking spoof movie. Like it's
full-on spoof.
It's
It's really goofy.
Yeah, but it doesn't get goofy until
Yeah.
a little bit later. And having
Okay.
never seen the trailer, nothing. I had no idea what
Yeah,
this
you went to it completely
was.
dark.
Yeah,
Right.
so I had no fucking idea. And I think that
Hmm.
might be the best way to do it because I was
Yeah.
laughing at unintentionally,
Yeah.
but maybe it was intentional. It's a weird fucking movie. It's a very weird
It's
fucking
weird.
movie.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's the weirdest one
It
I've
did
seen in a
hold
long
up on
time.
the weirdness factor for me. I was like, oh yeah, no, I wasn't just, was like, this movie's weird as a kid. Like, no, it's still weird.
Um, what the fuck were any of them thinking? Well, and I was also
Well,
thinking all of it would have worked well if James Belushi was played by Bill
uh-huh.
Murray. Like
Well, of
we're
course, I
delivering
think you
those
can say that about
lines.
any Jim Belushi movie. Said this would work better with Bill Murray. Like, no shit, because Bill Murray's way better than Jim Belushi.
Or
But
Tom
I
Hanks
think
for
Jim
that
Belushi.
matter.
But as far as Jim Belushi, I'm a Jim Belushi connoisseur, and as far as his performances in movies, this is actually a pretty good one. As far as I thought he did well with that character, I thought his line delivery was funny. I thought his speech about his transvestite dad was very progressive for 1987.
Yeah.
Even though the joke is like John Ritter's
Not
grossed out,
progressive.
but
It's like
yeah,
the
well,
opposite of
but like,
progressive and
but the
progressive at the
speech,
same time.
but the speech John Belushi gives, especially coming from John Belushi, or sorry, Jim Belushi, it surprised me. So there's a lot of surprising moments in this movie. Even having seen it as a kid, I forgot a lot about it, so I wasn't prepared for a lot of like the lines, the twists and turns and stuff. What did you think about the clown scene? I think that seems like the most like popular scene on the web. But I don't know. What did you think?
I just think it's really fucking stupid. That's
Yeah.
like it's not funny to me. But I did love the line later when
Mhm.
Ritter's like almost shoots the clown at the party. He's like, "Get your
Yeah.
ass fucking shot wearing a stupid fucking."
Yeah, the scene's almost worth it for that payoff.
That line delivery
At
is
this point,
so good. He's so mad.
John Ritter's really good.
Yeah,
Like when he's doing the whole bang scene, and he runs out with his right hand, and then he tries to fire with his left hand, and it works. He lets out the biggest Ric Flair woo, and it's so great. Yeah, back to the clown scene though. Yeah, I don't find at this point clowns funny or scary. They're just stupid and obsolete. I don't know why. There's not even circuses really anymore for good reason. And I don't know. I'm not
okay.
down with the clown.
Okay, fair enough.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
So you didn't like it in the It Clown? You didn't think he was scary?
No.
Either version?
No. Well, the old one when I was a kid, but no, clowns aren't scary. They're not funny. They just suck.
Yeah, but clowning actually as an art is really hard and interesting, and it's coming up in a big way in the
Yes.
comedy scene.
I know how hard I've seen Insane Clown Posse. I know how difficult clowning is, and I respect them a lot. No, actually made me look up. There are actually a few clown colleges still in the United States still working. I don't know what the attendance is. I don't know what the enrollment fees are, but
well, not to get all fucking comedy nerdy on the right, but there are a lot of people who are in like performance arts who take clowning schools, but they don't dress up like clowns. It's all about the physical performance and doing everything. Don't be all sucking.
No. It's like mimes. Mimes were the big stupid joke like the 70s, 80s. Like, who wants to be a mime? Like, that's where clowns are now.
Funniest, most inventive performers I've ever seen have done these things. I won't do it. It's too weird for me, but I respect it very much. But they don't dress up like clowns and like this. Anyway, I digress. So this is a road comedy. They barely go on the fucking road. Like,
okay.
They're in
well,
Southern
it's not
California.
Really a road movie. I don't really call it a road movie. Yeah.
Well, no, because that's how they set the premise. We have to get from here to here in a certain amount of days on the road. They spend so much time walking around in Southern California and Vegas, but it's just Southern California.
Well,
it's ridiculous.
They spent a good first 45 minutes just walking around houses and going into houses in Burbank.
Yeah, I thought it was
well, no,
really
I
boring.
like that. I like that. Them just dicking around, just like going from house to house, looking at what's in the fridge and stuff, and then just talking. James was saying weird shit.
And then
you're bored about that?
Because there's nothing moving forward. And then they would get attacked, and they'd shoot them, and then they'd shoot back, and then he'd run off, and he'd catch them, and then they'd shoot, and he'd shoot back, and then he'd run off, and then they finally get in the fucking car. Yeah. Oh man, I thought it was horribly paced and structured.
Force-based. Well, I don't know. I kind of like that dicking around first chunk or whatever, first act or whatever. That was probably one of my favorites. When they got on the road, I thought it kind of didn't really do much. I mean, I thought they were going to do like a whole North by Northwest thing, kind of in that cornfield, but that didn't really seem to lead to much, and then they have that silly like 80s bar scene, which is like in so many buddy action cop movies. And then what do you think of the whole James Belushi with the librarian slash dominatrix thing that goes on
Just
for a
the
while?
tired bit. And
Tired bit.
by the way, that
Yeah.
reminds me because the music for that, but the score. I never noticed scores. I'm not a score guy. The
Score is
for this movie
horrible.
fucking sucks. So
It was
bad.
really annoying. That was the one thing I was saying to Megan. I was like, the score is very like donkey donkey da 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 donkey. Like it's so like that's another one how you didn't signal to you as a comedy because like the score is just so this is a comedy. Donkey donkey
But that
like
doesn't
it's
come
not like
until later.
brooding.
And it's
I
like,
don't know. It's still like there's a lot of harmonicas and shit like that, and like I don't
but
know.
they still have the synthesizer action sound earlier on, from all the 80s
Yeah,
movies.
well, I think the movie would have worked better with like a John Carpenter, I think, like score, just like to add to the weirdness, the action movie, but like the real like kind of, I don't know, standard,
when they do the
uppity,
the dad's
score
a
just didn't
drag
do it for me.
queen or whatever. Shit, I should have said that. I fucked up. The dad transitioned and whatnot, and
Yeah.
it's revealed that that woman hitting on Ritter is his dad, and then it cuts to Belushi with
Was
the
it a
teacup.
trombone?
Yeah,
Yeah. As a trap.
just real
Wow.
quick, and it's like, what the fuck? Why are you doing that?
Well, those are kind of moments that I kind of laugh at it and with it at the same time. Just that's just stupid '80s shit. But yeah, well, what did you think? Like on the whole, what would you recommend this? Would you say it's?
No.
I mean, you think
It
no?
surprised me with the bits that did work, but it's a really hard recommend. Like, it's like if you were really interested in this shit, if you're watching this channel, you might be interested in it because it's so bizarre and fucking out there. Ritter's great in it. I don't like Belushi.
Not a Belushi fan at all.
Well, I mean, we get into it, but
go for it.
there's nothing good to say about him as a person. And can you name one movie where he's like, that guy's funny?
No, like I said last podcast, like I do enjoy his mediocre movies because I think I find it comforting for some reason. But yeah, he basically is just kind of nostalgia. Yeah, I wouldn't find these movies probably good if I hadn't watched them as a kid or something. And yeah, I think he kind of his career kind of was like coasting on his brother's kind of wings or whatever, and he kind of gets away with his whole persona is like this kind of blue collar Chicago working class guy, but he hasn't really ever made a really good movie. I can't really think of one really good Jim Belushi performance as far as like, wow, he really nailed it, he was hilarious in this or that. Plus, like the stuff I've heard about him personally is not good. I've heard, friends, family members told me like stuff about him is not good. And then, David Cross devoted a whole chapter of his book to what an asshole he is. So it's I don't want to judge someone I haven't met, but where there's smoke, there's probably fire.
I guess like where he lives up in like Napa Valley or whatever, everybody fucking hates about the locals because he's just an asshole like fucking everybody.
Yeah, I believe it. Yeah. He had this, I saw this YouTube clip. He had this like $38.5 million mansion in Brentwood that he sold. It was an amazing house. And he moved up to Oregon to become a big cannabis farmer, and he keeps saying he's a cannabis activist, but at this point, you're just a farmer. I don't know. There's not really much activist in it.
It's active. It's activated.
We hear also back in the day, we hear also get arrested, and sit downs. He was an activist, but since if it's legal, you're just a farmer, so. But no, I can't really say he's just. I will say this is probably one of his better performances. I liked him in this. I thought it was good. I like the movie as a whole. I mean, as far as if you're a fan of buddy action comedies, it's far from like bottom of the barrel. And all of the reviews when it came out were 1 star. Like Leonard Maltin's like barely released with good reason, unfunny. A lot of people like criticize the plot for being unrealistic, which fucking course it is. It's like saying MacGruber's unrealistic or something. So as far as that goes, I liked it.
But did you notice like the newer reviewers are much kinder to it? Like people revisit in the 2000s and even.
Yeah, I did come across one review kind of recently, but from the AV Club. I think it was the writer Sean O'Neill. He called it one of like the most underrated comedies of the '80s.
I will give it
And
that.
I don't.
It's underrated because it only made $800,000.
Yeah.
It's better
Well,
than
yeah.
that for 87.
Well, yeah. It was basically buried by the studio. They didn't put any money into promoting
No,
it. I think they released it in like 2 cities or something.
do you know why? It's because it was United Artists, which I used to work for, but it's
Right.
because
Right.
they were still reeling from Heaven's Gate. So they
Wow. That
couldn't like
that came out
afford to
7
put.
years earlier. That
Yeah,
must
that
have
came
really
out in
fucked
80.
them.
Yeah, that's how bad Heaven's Gate
If they were-
fucked that studio. They haven't
Yeah.
recovered.
So
They
they
still haven't recovered from that shit.
start
Like,
covering for Heaven's Gate like fucking 40 years later. Holy
yeah.
shit. Well, yeah. So I think it's kind of like I wouldn't say it's like on the level of Idiocracy, where it's like a cult movie you should discover that was buried by the studio. But yeah, as far as if you're into buddy action comedies or obscure ones you've never heard of, I definitely recommend it. I don't know if I recommend it just at anyone as far as like what's a good movie. Oh, Real Men, you gotta check it out.
Yeah, if you're
But,
a
you
big
know,
James Belushi fan, you're gonna love it. If you're a big Ritter
Right.
fan, you're gonna love it because he's fucking a
Right.
delight. I wish he
He's
did a
delight,
lot
yeah.
more movies because he's
Yeah.
great.
Yeah, I actually kind of like the Problem Child movies. Again, with probably the nostalgia thing, but I'll watch them. You know, a couple beers in, I think they're pretty funny. John Ritter's really funny in them. He kind of had one of those like Ted Danson or something careers where he was in movies, but he never really crossed over into being a movie star. And that he's huge on Three's Company, big TV star, and then he did this movie called Hero at Large, which was kind of like it was kind of maybe a movie before its time. It was kind of like a contemplation on people like the public's perception of superheroes. I haven't seen it forever, but that was like his only movie. And then 7 years later, he did Real Men, and so this was kind of his like second movie in like since the 70s. And then so as far as and this is like John Belushi or Jim, I keep saying I'm Jim Belushi's like second movie ever after this movie called The Principal that he did. So as far as that goes, I think they make a good team. I like them. Jim Belushi then went on to do like 4 buddy movies after this, or 3 after. It's like 4 in a row. He did Red Heat with Schwarzenegger, which we'll probably cover later.
Yeah, so let's take into
K9.
that. K9.
Yeah, K9, which is
So
one of the.
we're counting Man and Animal Buddy.
Oh,
actions?
sure, yeah, it's a buddy.
Okay,
It's,
wow.
yeah, sure.
No, I didn't know
That's
that.
a whole
Just
sub.
opens up
Yeah, and that's a whole subgenre of itself.
That's a
the
whole different
K9 cop
podcast,
stuff.
Kenny. That's a whole different podcast.
We need to start a whole different podcast for that. Well, then he did this movie called Homer and Eddie, with him and Whoopi Goldberg going on a road trip. And I can't remember the video box for this movie, but I never saw it. But I read the synopsis on Wikipedia, and I maybe kind of want to see it, even though I heard it's got like a 0% on Rotten Tomatoes. But Whoopi Goldberg plays an escaped mental patient with a brain tumor who meets a sweetly mentally disabled man, Jim Belushi, and they go on a road trip together to see his dying father.
That doesn't sound like an action comedy.
Oh, it's not an action comedy, but it's like a buddy road trip thing. So.
And then he did Taking Care of Business, or no, the one with.
Then he kind of went into like
Grodin.
Taking Care of Business and Mr. Destiny and all that kind of stuff. But like he did like
But Grodin's
4
a buddy
movies in
action.
a row. Which one is?
Taking Care of Business with Grodin. That's a buddy action comedy.
Where's the action? Him like doing the
They-
surfboard
they-
on top of the limo?
They zip line down with this book, remember?
Barely. Oh, is that in the baseball park? Is that what he does that?
No, that's
That's an action
Mr.
scene?
Destiny. I'm talking about Taking Care of Business with Grodin.
But okay, we're getting off track here. But
That's
like,
more of a
Taking
switch
Care of Business-
places.
Yeah, I remember that. But the end is at the California Angel Stadium. That's his big dream to go to like a Cubs game at the Angel Stadium. But anyway, there's very little action in Taking Care of Business or Mr. Destiny. Yeah, they're not action movies.
That's too bad. I could talk about those off the top of my head right now, obviously. No, I can't. I would. The first 40 minutes were so stilted and poorly structured and paced, like you said. And I know you love it that they're just sitting in the house most of the time, talking, and nothing's going on at all. And
But it's funny dialogue. I think it's funny.
I think it's clunky. I don't think it's that funny. It's
Really?
not until they get into the big bits, and then they have a bunch of them stacked. I'm like, this is actually genuinely, some funny bits. It's like genuinely pretty funny. But by then it's too late. Like if I was reading the screenplay, I would have been done after 10 pages because nothing is going on.
Well, yeah, we talked earlier about Dennis Feldman, the writer director, kind of being one and done with the directing. He went on to do like writer, and like I think he wrote like Species, which was kind of a big hit, like a moderate hit movie in the 90s. He did this movie called Virus, which I think Jamie Lee Curtis for a while called her worst movie ever. But he never really went back to comedy after this. So he quit comedy, I think, after this movie. Probably from notes from gentlemen like yourself, I think.
And general audiences.
And general audiences in the studio
and critics
and everybody else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But no, it was actually, from where I started, it surprisingly was better than I expected. Like, I'd probably give it 2 out of 5 stars, but it started off being like worse than that.
Yeah. No, I'd rate a lot higher. I guess I've sat through a lot of bad like buddy action comedies, and it's nowhere near the bottom of the barrel. It's got some genuine, I think, cleverness to it, and I like the lead performances, and I don't think it's actually paced that badly, and I think it holds up fairly well. So yeah, like I said, I think on the buddy action comedy scale, I give it like a 6 or a 7 out of 10 or something like that.
Well, a buddy action
But,
comedy
you know,
scale, yeah, I was just doing like
yeah,
an actual
but-
movie.
Yeah, but as an actual movie, I'd probably give it like, like a more, I don't know, like a 6 or a 2.5, 3 stars out of 5 or something. It's not a great, it wouldn't be like a strong, yeah, do it, see it. But as a curio piece, I think it works.
That's a good thing. If we keep doing this at the end of the year, we should rank all the movies we've watched.
Oh
Do
yeah,
a
we should
show,
totally
an episode where we rank everything.
Well, we should also do like Joe Bob Briggs, like best actor, best actress,
Just go
best
for it, yeah.
script. Just have a whole list of best editing,
Yeah.
best.
We'll just have a
music score.
3-hour episode. With
Yeah,
special
we'll just
guests
hand out
and
awards
everything.
to nobody.
All right. Anything else? Oh, one more thing I want to say. The special effects look great when the pen goes
Did
through the
they?
ball. I thought so for 87 for a cheap movie like that. And you can tell it's the only effect they spent on the entire movie.
Oh
Like,
yeah,
when the
the whole
ball
movie.
goes.
Yeah.
Right, and I was like, that looks really fucking good. For what
Yeah.
I'm watching, that was really impressive. And at the end, when they see the aliens, it's just a light, like off camera.
Right, and then it does the old contact thing where it's
Yeah.
like, oh, you look just like us. Of course we do. Yeah, it's like
Who
because they
was
didn't
that
wanna buy it.
actor though? Is that actor notable because he seemed interesting?
I don't
It
know.
looked familiar.
He could be like a character actor I've seen in other things. Nothing really pops to mind immediately though. He was fine. He was good as the one scene as the alien, but yeah, lots of that of thing too. I like the whole kind of premise, very 80s premise of like do you want the good package or the big gun? There's a lot, and just want a glass of water. It was
Cold
just,
War
it was so,
Yeah, it's
it was,
funny that
it was
they
very
just write glass
knowingly
of water.
goofy. The movie knows what it's doing. I don't think it was ever didn't know what it wanted to be or anything.
I thought Ritter's dynamic character worked well. It actually worked well. Like how he grows and gets tougher and is all tough
Yeah.
by the end. Like works
He's kind of
really
believable.
well. Yeah, but
Yeah.
Belushi's was not. He just goes and gets a BSDM
That's a
relationship,
little-
and all of a
yeah.
sudden he's like in love or whatever. It's like, what the fuck is this shit?
Yeah, that didn't really work at all. I'll agree with you there as far as like him finding this dominatrix. Now he's in love, and plus just being a Jim Belushi apologist. I like him being this guy that is irresistible to women. Like, not buying it, man. He was even in one of these like erotic thrillers back in the day called Traces of Red, which was where he kind of played like the Michael Douglas role and stuff. I've never seen it, but I buy Jim Belushi as a blue collar Chicago guy. I do not buy him as the irresistible sex object to women. I
But
don't know.
also, you bring up a good point. How does Michael Douglas get away with it? I mean, I'm not a woman.
Michael
but
Douglas is the shit.
he just oozes. sex.
That's Gordon Gekko, man.
Hey, I
The
love
ladies
Michael
love Gordon
Douglas.
Gekko.
I don't
Yeah.
think. Hey, look, my man panties don't drop for him. That's all I'm saying.
for just nobody, right?
All right. There's like 3. We'll get into that in another one. All right. So, is there anything else you want to talk about this movie, or do you think we've covered Real Men?
I think we've probably covered it.
It's a little
I would
sexist.
recommend.
Almost every female character or woman character is handled really poorly. I'll just bring that up.
Oh
as an
yeah,
age
this
buff,
is this is not a progressive movie for women at all.
But there
but-
wasn't a progressive movie for women made in the 80s. Like, I don't think there's
80s,
like,
right?
Yeah.
So this is not surprising. One little kind of trivia note too is this came out in 1987, the same year as Lethal Weapon, which is kind of considered the quintessential buddy action movie. Not the first one's not really a comedy, but they kind of became the quintessential buddy action comedy series, I guess. So I don't know. It's worth noting, I guess.
Yeah, I think Lethal Weapon's better.
I'll give you that. I'd say Lethal Weapon's probably better than Real Men. Just by air.
All right, so that's it. We're gonna do a little tease. I get to pick next week's episode. I'm gonna
Yeah. What
put
are we doing next
I'm
week?
gonna put the trailer for this again in the descriptions because it is something else. I actually got this from you because Kenny and I make each other YouTube lists. So
Oh.
we just put stuff and we save it to our each other's watch laters, things we think each other would find interesting.
Try it with a friend. It's worth it.
And it's fun. It's fun. I was
Mhm.
behind, so I caught up for the most part today, actually. And so we're going to go ahead and watch Partners, the trailer you
All
sent
right,
me.
partners.
If we
Yeah.
can
I
find
have
it.
not seen it.
I haven't seen it either. You sent me the trailer, and I could not
Yeah.
believe it. So I'm going to put that
It
below.
also looks like a very
Yeah.
it looks like a very progressive movie itself, 80s movie. Yeah.
I'm going to put so just watch the trailer below because wow. But yeah, and I'm going to find that.
Wow.
We're going to watch it. Pretty sure I can find it. Not positive.
I'm sure if it's gonna be on like one of those Tubi or like Voodoo or whatever the hell.
I doubt it, but I can
No,
probably find
they
it.
buried this movie.
I might
They
be able
probably
to find like some ripped copy of it, and we might have to pirate it, but I don't want to do that. But I will. It's got to be out there.
Well,
but holy shit.
I'm down for Partners.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, hey, Ryan O'Neal and John Hurt.
Hey, that's not saying
A-list.
anymore. Everybody, that's
Okay.
A-list buddy cops. Watch the trailer.
Right,
Holy
let's
shit.
just go in as dark as possible.
Yeah, exactly.
I hope next week I'm like, I didn't even know it was a comedy. Like an hour in.
I thought I was just having a good time.
I thought I was learning a lot. I was riveted, and then all of a sudden the jokes started flying
I
out.
was watching two great actors, two titans of the screen work off each other.
Yeah, this is like Inherit the Wind, and then all of a sudden, what the hell's this shit?
John Hurt and Ryan O'Neal are in this movie. Wow, I can't wait. All right, before we give too much away, because I could talk about just that trailer for hours. Let's get into our fan mail. Let's open it up. Fan mail.
Let's open it up. Yeah. I checked it a couple days ago. We have no fan mail. If you want to send us something, should I give the email address away again?
You can just leave a comment. We'll just call that fan mail. If you want to email,
we'll read the comments. Next year. So,
also,
why not?
Almost every YouTube channel's email address is their YouTube channel at Gmail. So you're welcome.
Okay,
so
you'll figure it out.
Buddies on buddies at Gmail. Yeah.
Any Columbos out there, we'll figure it out, I'm sure. But also leave a comment, whatever. We'll read it on air.
Yeah, we are. As long as it's not.
That's how dedicated we are to our fan base.
Yeah, as long as it's not, bad.
Bad, racist, sexist, homophobic. Fuck it, whatever. Just say it.
Just go read it. Do whatever you want.
I'll read it. I don't care. Anything for you fans.
I'll read whatever the fuck, man.
I don't care what getting canceled. Whatever.
Can't cancel the uncancelable. All right. So before we say our final goodbyes, Kenny, what are your goals for the week?
Goals for the week. I want to read a book.
In 1 week?
No.
No. Something more realistic.
Well, no, I am trying to be a little more unplugged, like on my weekends, and just like start reading more. Just like this, not so much, not too many screens. I'm trying to get off screens. Mm-hmm. That's one of my goals this week. Less screens.
Good.
But if you're watching this, thank you.
Stay tuned.
Stay tuned. Don't go away.
Good. My goal for the week is, I just been really slacking on the writing. So,
yeah.
And here's the main goal is to write on the weekends. I always take the weekends off. Like I want to.
Yeah.
Supposed to go golfing on Saturday, kind of early, and I want to get home and just put a couple pages in.
Yeah.
And just write. That's my sincere goals for the week. And if you keep your goals humble and you stay humble, you achieve great things.
Stay humble, like my friend Kendrick Lamar always says.
Oh yeah, Kenny's good friends with Kendrick Lamar.
The two Kennys, everyone calls us. Kendrick Lane? No, Lamar.
All right, this was fun. Whoa.
Hey now.
We'll see you guys again next week. We'll be watching the movie Partners. I will include the trailer in the descriptions below. I will also include the entirety of Real Men, because that's free on YouTube below. And
I'm betting Partners is probably free too on YouTube, but we'll see.
We'll see. We'll see.
Yeah.
I hope so. I'm really, really looking forward to it. That's it. Bye, guys.
That's it.
Say
Bye.
bye,
See you next
Kenny.
week.
See you
Goodbye.
next week. No, not this. I want to stop the recording. There it is. Okay, bye.